Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, I'm gonna be doing a lot of work to the RV. Today, I'm gonna do some electrical work to the ignition switch wire. It needs to be replaced because the old one was just all corroded and there wasn't enough voltage getting from the battery to the starter to turn the motor over. So that is what I'm gonna be working on today. Now that it's summer vacation, I have my full toolbox at my house, so I have access to all the tools. So I'm gonna grab everything I need and then go down to the RV. This is the solder I bought to solder the new wire in, and it has a low melting point, so it'll be able to melt into the wire easier. It's rosin core, which is good for electrical, and it also has flux in it too, so that will help it have a clean connection. So that will go in the bag. Then I'm just gonna grab my full set of ratcheting metric wrenches, just so I have all of them down there, and then 3/8 inch ratchet and 1/4 inch ratchet, along with those sockets. Those will go in my bag, and then I'll just grab some extensions just in case they will come in handy for something. And then I'm gonna grab my heat shrink. And then I'll grab my magnetic light, and I'm just gonna grab this mirror and magnet just in case I need them. And then the rest of my stuff, like my soldering iron and everything else, should already be down there. Looks like someone wanted to come down and help. Alright, so I have my light set up right here, and you can see the starter solenoid right there. Where this red wire is going to is where the terminal is for the ignition switch. Right on here. So I'm just going to remove that and take the terminal off and then bring it up through to the cabin so I can figure out what length I need. Now I'm just ratcheting that terminal off. I'm just gonna cut this terminal right off right there so it can slide through this hose. And it's snipped right off, so I'm gonna go up there and pull it the rest of the way through. So this is the wiring I have to replace it. These 3 wires right here have to be spliced together and then run on one wire through there back down to the starter solenoid. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip the end of these and try not to strip off too much because there's not a whole lot of wire to work with and I don't want to make it too short. And it looks like this one has a cut in it right there, so I'm gonna try to seal that with maybe some liquid tape and maybe a heat shrink just to make sure it can't be corroded again. So this wire right here, I'm just gonna feed it through and then twist them together, and that'll be the first solder, and then I have to splice these along here. So I'm letting the soldering iron heat up for a little bit. It's just a plain basic one you can get for like less than 10 bucks. I have this rosin paste here too, just to dip your tip in to clean it off. And then I got some liquid electrical tape, which just makes the connection waterproof and helps to seal it against corrosion. Alright, so I have it all twisted together there. Now I'm gonna try to solder it together, as long as this is hot enough. Alright, I had a bit of a delay because that crappy soldering iron just was not heating the wire up enough to melt the solder. So I just had to go to Home Depot and grab this more heavy-duty soldering gun to make sure that it gets up to the right temperature. And I had to grab some new wire strippers too because the other ones were just not working. I had to like use a knife to shear off the ends. Alright, this thing's all ready to go. When I'm walking through Compton. What a step up from that little crappy one.
You know I had to get ya.
Alright, the first solder connection is done. Then as soon as it cools off, I'm gonna put a little bit of liquid electrical tape on there and then slide the heat shrink tube over, and then we'll try to splice these together on another section. I could have spliced the 3 of these together in the same spot, but these ones are quite a bit longer than that one, so I just thought it'd be easier to solder that on there and then splice these 2 a little bit further down so they'd be less crowded too. Here I'm taking this liquid electrical tape and I'm just gonna put it right on the connection. Cover it in that and then let that dry. And then pick one with the closest diameter that will fit over that. That thing is fat. We're gonna have to go with a thicker one. And now I'm gonna put a lighter to it so it will shrink up around it. The heat shrink's on it now, so I can move on to the next 2 wires. So now I've got that triple spliced together, and now I'm gonna solder it. And there's the connection. On this one, I just used the liquid electric tape and then the regular electric tape over it because none of the heat shrink tubes were big enough to go around all 3 wires. So now I'm gonna take this wire and run it back down through that hose right there, and then cut it to length and crimp one of these terminals on there. Okay, I just crimped this terminal on, and I'm gonna put this heat shrink there just to have some extra protection, and then back to the starter it goes. I just tightened it back up on there. Now I'm gonna go grab the battery and put it in and try to see if we can get this thing started. I'm also charging up the battery because it's been sitting for a while, so I want to make sure it's up to the right amount of voltage. Alright, so I'm gonna spray some starter fluid into the carburetor right here, and I found out this is the Rochester 4-barrel carburetor. Alright, I'm freaking crossing my fingers right now. Oh. I think I might have found another issue of why I wasn't getting enough voltage. And this is what the ground wire looks like. There's like a bunch of strands broken in multiple places. So, gonna need a new ground wire, and then maybe that'll fix our problem, we'll see. So it's a day later. This was where it was bolted in the engine bay, like to chassis ground. It just broke right off that, so that's how crappy that wire was. These are completely frozen together. Like, we torched it, we greased it, everything, and it just would not budge. So I went to Napa and got a replacement that should work, and a new wire with new terminals. And this gauge is way thicker than that gauge, so should be way better. So this terminal right here goes down to this connector, and I just have to put that back on. So I'm gonna put this terminal through here and start screwing that in to where it connects on the chassis. I threw the washer and the cable terminal right on there, and now I'm gonna tighten this bolt up. So I have the ground cable all tightened on there, and then this terminal is tightened onto the battery negative, so I'm gonna try to give it a crank and see if just this gives it enough voltage. But I did check this terminal itself if there was ground there, and I wasn't getting any voltage between the battery positive and just this cable. And this cable bolts down to the engine block, so I don't know if it's just a bad connection there or what, but I'm gonna have to check that next. Alright, let's give it a try. Oh shit! Oh shit, bro, she's cranking now. Oh my god, okay. I guess we have enough voltage just through that ground cable, but let me just spray some more starter fluid on here, and we'll see if that gives it anything. Holy fuck! Oh my god, bro. Holy shit! We got it fucking started! Oh my god. I'm so happy right now. Dude! This thing has not been running in so long, bro. Holy crap. Dude, no joke. This thing starts up right away every time now, bro. Watch this. Oh! Running. Look at that. Gee, is it gonna start again? Is it gonna start again? Like, did we just get lucky? Boom! Right away! Oh! Now I'm just gonna add some fresh gas to the tank and then try to clean out the carburetor more. I'm gonna try to set the camera up in a way that you can see what I'm doing. I think in one of my videos I already did this, but pretty much I'm just gonna run the engine and then use this carburetor spray cleaner and spray it right into the carburetor while I'm revving it. This thing right here, you can also control the throttle right now. Dude, I never even tried the wipers. And at first I didn't think it was gonna work, but the fluid even works. Like, holy crap. Anyways, I think that was a pretty successful video fixing the electrical problems it had. It didn't really seem to have those issues when I first bought it because it was starting and stuff, but then it would kind of like lose power while I was trying to start it and then getting power and losing power. So we found it was that crappy ignition switch wire to the starter. So then I replaced that and still wasn't getting enough voltage, and then I found that crappy chassis ground wire. For some reason, I don't think the main negative battery cable is getting ground from the engine block that it's bolted to. So I'm gonna have to look into that because that is a little bit weird. So now that it's running again and probably semi-drivable, at least where I can get it up to my driveway, I'm gonna order the brakes for it. I'm just gonna do the front 2 disc brakes so that it can like stop just driving it back and forth from down here to my driveway to work on it, and then later on I'll get into looking at the rear drums. But yeah, I'm keeping this video short and sweet just so I can get some updates out there. It was short but successful. So I'll see you guys hopefully soon in the next video. I'm glad to be back and working on my projects for the summer. Love you all. Goodbye.